With the end of the year and a joke of a martial law happening in Korea, the whole world witnessed the true capabilities of what Korean troops were capable of. And as an individual who has a deep interest in military operations, it was one of the worst planned ones I had to witness. With that said, why not exploit this political self-sabotage for
the people
by declaring martial law, oppressing the press, and sending in a real soldier? As the Kaiju Defense Force's latest but most innately skilled recruit, Shinomiya Kikoru stands heads over shoulders and proud as she knows that none, minus one operative, poses a threat, in which her hair portrays just the tip of such narcissism as the blonde-colored hair alongside the dual tails is explicitly shown, as she has no intent on hiding such extravagant hairstyle, a trait that is highly contrasted with the uniform aesthetic that are favored in both the Japanese and Korean society, probably why they are susceptible to a military coup. This is not mentioning the petite cranium that is usually associated with a 16-year-old minor, although by Japanese laws it is legal from such age.
気持ち悪い
And such size allows gigachads like the Doomslayer to enjoy the good old British pastime of football. But what is a head if not for the face, as a girl's gotta have her looks to sell to the otaku fanbase. And luckily, Kikoru retains a face that is worth pushing over. Such merits are firstly attributed to the eyes that, typical of your anime waifu, retains an inhumanely large proportion to the face that gives off the illusion that any keen-eyed viewer is able to observe Kikoru's pure but narcissistic soul. But unfortunately for our dear princess, I'm a fan of organisms with no eyes.
perfect organism.
This is in addition to the sharp anime nose that makes the nose seen on even Kaiju's lifelike, and the run-of-the-mill streamlined anime lips, all of which add to Kikoru's appealing aesthetics and proves that Japan surely knows how to sell child soldiers in times of war. But if you want to express Kikoru's full range of expressions, there are these alternative faces, the first of which is the dull emotionless face. And look at that face, it's the complete opposite of the out-of-the-box narcissistic face, in which the eyes lose all of the confidence and hunger, alongside the fact that the smoking grin is outright replaced with a petite frown, all of which combine to accurately depict when Kikoru is in the presence of beings far beyond her limit, or when she's reminded of when she lost her mother and has to live with the truth that she's never going to receive the same amount of love to her contemporaries. And once Kikoru is reminded of such truth and tries to compensate by lashing out at the world as the tsundere she is, there is this angry face. And if you're well aware of tsunderes or children who grew up with parental issues, hello, I'm one of those children. Such face is one that's all too familiar, as depicted through the inverted eyes that oozes such negative energy and possesses the intent to butcher anything that stands in our way, and the all too white teeth shown in their full glory, that, when combined, fully realizes Kikoru's vented anger and surely a sore eye to any entity that dares to face this angsty teenager. So much so that she's likely to chop up the puppy and ignite the wrath of a far greater entity. And when such circumstance is the case, there is this frightened face that this time around retains the eyes in which said organism realizes its life is coming to an end, and the open mouth in which the inner tongue is explicitly shown, that all fuse to depict Kikoru when she regrets her life choices and can only look in fear for what's to come. But take condolence, as her angsty tsundere is likely to meet her long-lost parental figure sooner than expected. But what is a special forces operative without their iconic uniform? The Kaiju Defense Force constructed their own unique suit, which aids in slicing and dicing kaijus alike. It's the official in-universe explanation. But between you and me, we know why the suit's actually there. As the Ava-inspired skin-tight suit finally shows Kikoru's ballistics in their full glory as shown through the titular
Booby.
perhaps, the non-existent fat abdomen, the tight and the cherry on top, the zipper that runs down through the body that makes it much more easier to unclothe. Regardless of my questionable taste, you can't ignore the excess amount of details that Bandai input into the said uniform, as shown through the sturdy shoulder pads with the Kaiju Defense Force insignia embedded on, the various linings on the torso that allow for added flexibility, the vertebrae-esque back armor that is intricately placed on the back, and the easy to strip zipper. But contrary to Kikoru's visually pleasing aesthetics, the arms are anorexic to the point that puts literal North Korean wannabes like Kaiju number 9 look like Hulk Hogan, and further makes me question how Kikoru was able to either fire a firearm or wield her iconic battle axe. Probably due to the suit doing most of the heavy lifting. Looking below the belt, besides the previously mentioned thick ass in which the cracks and crevices are beautifully depicted, there is this utility belt that is painted in the whitish grey color scheme and sticks closely to Kikoru's waist. This is not mentioning the two empty holes that are not meant to shove anything in, but this ammo pouch on the left and the trustworthy sidearm on the right. And while the sidearm can't be taken out to be used in close quarters, Bandai surely went above and beyond when rendering that pistol, as there is a red dot sight attached, which is something even Mr. Wick doesn't have the luxury of wielding. And maybe the most important aspect is that the sidearm is locked and loaded with a full mag inside, contrary to what was seen on particular Special Forces operatives, allowing our beloved child soldier here to open fire when duty calls, rather than being forced to take non-lethal measures and the risk of getting her firearm snatched off by the opposition. Do you remember the troubled parental upbringing? Because this is the result. Look at the legs. Contrary to the twig-like arms, the legs are more evenly balanced, in which, while not the most appealing dice around the block, they are well refined with the lack of fat, and in their place is composed of pure muscle that allow Kikoru to tackle military operations in the battlefield. This is not mentioning the high-tech military boots that add to the wearer's maneuverability and is the perfect wear when not only stomping over hostile kaijus, but also perfect when repressing a civilian uprising. I almost forgot to mention that left leg also has a hole that can place the additional ammo pouch for double the ammunition and double the firepower. When unpacking the company accessories that Kikoru has in stock, just like Kaiju number 8 and 9, our beloved angsty tsundere, contrary to other Bandai releases, is packed, courtesy of being a Figuarts. Besides the previously mentioned faces and combat related gear, there are your run-of-the-mill hands. Besides the out-of-the-box fists, there are your open hands that not only enable Kikoru to react in shock when she realizes the error of her ways and is confronted by the consequences of her action, but they also enable the titular narcissistic tsundere to perform the iconic Antabaka slap. Then there are these holding hands that allow Kikoru to wield her newly equipped battle axe. And just before talking about the axe, there is this alternative hairpiece that differentiates itself with the out-of-the-box hair as portrayed through the center hair being swept to the left, that not only adds extra visibility for Kikoru to lock onto a toggle and release her built-up frustration, but also add an extra layer of maturity as the teenage sloppy hair has been phased out in favor of a more clean and formal hairstyle. That is surely a breath of fresh air as it drastically reduces any hostile aura associated with the former design and kind of hints at Kikoru's potential growth from an angsty teenager to a fully grown woman, while also giving off the illusion that you lot have even a slight chance of hitting a girl like her, when in reality you're more or less to end up like a collateral mud. But a point to be cautious about is that the hair is a hell to pull off, so I'd advise to firstly remove the head, lift the face up, and remove the said face and hair simultaneously, in which you then add the alternative hair. But Kikoru, as being suited for close quarters combat, in which her agility shines the most, the Kaiju Defense Force decided to accommodate Kikoru's fighting style while compensating for a relatively weak strength by equipping our beloved tsundere with her own one-of-a-kind battle axe. And don't be fooled, as this axe packs a punch as it can easily slice and dice highly armored kaijus as if they were Swiss cheese, truly making her a trustworthy operative to friendlies, but a nightmare to those that dare oppose her. Just don't tell said hostiles that the axe consumes a lot of energy that limits the duration that Kikoru is able to engage in conflict, but still way longer than the actual martial law that most of the population has slept through. Regardless of operative effectiveness, Bandai, just like the overall figure, implemented the same amount of love and care when reproducing the ass. Not only does it retain the exact details such as the uneven proportions that would make it one hell of a time for Kikoru to properly wield, instead far more suited to the Doomslayer, but also the intricate paint job that was invested as each component is separately, but cleanly painted, tricking even the respective customers to mistake such accessory for an actual tool. And if you followed my Kaiju No.8 releases, all of the characters were accompanied by their individual Kaiju No.8 face, which allows them to reproduce Kafka's on-screen appearance. And Kikoru here is accompanied by Kafka's face that this time around loses the Kaiju eyes on the left and is placed as Kafka's original human eye, that not only functions to reproduce when Kafka ultimately exposed his secret identity to his teammates, but also acts to symbolize that Kafka was not completely consumed by Kaiju No.8, but instead lives to stick to his principles, where rather than using his newly obtained powers for personal gain, instead endeavors upon helping the needy in times of despair. Where have I heard that before?
With great power comes great responsibility.
When observing how tall our titular tsundere stands, as an SH Figuarts figure, her chances of towering over her contemporaries aren't tall, unless you're a kaiju, and being a woman doesn't give her any favors. With that said, Kikoru stands strong with her reaching a meager height of 13 centimeters or 5.1 inches tall, making her a midget in the eyes of both men and gods alike. But considering her actual age, it's pretty much accurate when considering human biology. Here's Shinomiya Kikoru next to Gunpla, Kaijus, Figmas, and fellow Kaiju No.8 Figuarts. When looking at the range of posability that Kikoru is able to pull off, if you follow the SH Figuarts roster, especially the Kaiju No.8 line, they are the top two pillars when regarding posability, as Kikoru's predecessors went beyond the limitations that hindered man to reach godhood status, only being rivaled by the best of what the Figma line could offer. So let's see whether Kikoru over here stands up to the line's reputation. The tails, as being connected by ball joints, allow them to move freely in any direction. The bow ties can move up and down. Due to the small size of the head, it can easily move up and down, side to side. Even with the shoulder armor, the arms surely can spread wide. Arms can freely move around. Bicep movement allows the arms to move side to side. A complete 180 elbow movement. Run-of-the-mill hand movement, the torso as being a separate piece can move up and down side to side, but due to the shape of the lean abdomen, side to side movement is limited, but front and back movement would make even Mr. Wick proud. But due to the shape of those hips, the leg spread is mediocre compared to his predecessor. The legs, similar to the arms, can move side to side, of course the full 180 for the knees, pretty good feet movement, and a toe bend. So, regarding Kikoru's posability, our titular angsty minor, while not as impressive as her kaiju contemporaries, still boasts an impressive range of movement that not only adds to her intrinsic fighting style, but also allows respective owners to reproduce Kikoru's unique poses right out of the anime, making for a great figure and further contributes to the Figuarts standard of providing one of the best figures regarding movement. With all of that out of the way, the SH Figuarts iteration of Shinomiya Kikoru is another impressive release by both Bandai and the Figuarts line, as Kikoru here was bestowed with the same amount of love and care similar to those of both high-end Figuarts and Gunpla, as depicted through the screen-accurate rendition, intricate sculpt, the numerous assortment of accompanying accessories, and the beyond human range of posability. The only gripe, if there is one, is the limited size price, but considering Kikoru is a 16-year-old minor, it's pretty much screen accurate. In doing so, if you're a fan of Kaiju No.8, have questionable taste, or are a fan of quality figures overall, I would highly recommend this figure. In doing so, I'm gonna give the SH Figuarts reproduction of Shinomiya Kikoru a ranking of an A+.